Hey everybody, welcome back to World History. So for today, we're going to do section 4, notes and quiz, and then no assignment today. You guys do get some time to work on your review guides. After today, we only have one section left, so make sure you're getting your notes done and working on your review guide because that test is coming up. Our learning objectives today are to identify the causes of Axis surrender and to analyze the impact of atomic weapons. So, in March 1945, the Nazis are defeated, and the Allies in the East and the West will meet at the Elbe River near Berlin. Axis armies everywhere surrender. Mussolini is actually going to be captured and executed trying to flee, and Hitler will commit suicide as the Soviet Union advanced on Berlin. Germany will officially surrender on May 7th, 1945. As a result, VE Day, or Victory in Europe, will be declared on May 8th, 1945. So, some reasons for the Allies' success. Well, first of all, Germany's location once again worked to their downfall. Having to fight on several fronts meant that they were severely weakened. Hitler, while he may have appeared like a strong leader at first, he wanted complete control and made some poor decisions, like especially underestimating the Soviet Union. And another thing they couldn't account for was the enormous productive capacity of the United States. By 1943, the United States was producing 2 times more war goods than all of the Axis powers combined. It's also important to understand by 1944 and 1945, oil was so scarce in Germany that their Luftwaffe, or their Air Force, was completely grounded by the time of the D-Day invasion in 1944. So Europe is done. We still have the Pacific to worry about. And it's important to understand until 1942, Japan was kind of left uninterrupted. They kind of just did whatever the heck they wanted. When they took the Philippines, we have to talk about the Bataan Death March. This is a 65-mile forced march of Filipino and U.S. prisoners of war under brutal conditions by the Japanese. However, they really started to have to go on the defensive after the battles at Coral Sea and Midway. Another major battle we have is the Battle of Guadalcanal, or Operation Watchtower. With this victory, they began a strategy of island hopping to recapture some Japanese held islands while bypassing others. Basically, stepping stones, getting closer and closer to Japan. Basically, if given the option, they're going to attack the less fortified island, bypass the one that has a heavy encampment of Japanese troops, and just move on. They're going to leave the heavy encampment one alone, but take back the island that has minimal troops that could easily be captured. Two major figures we need to keep in mind when we're talking about the Pacific are General Douglas MacArthur, who led the movement north towards Japan and fought to retake the Philippines, and Admiral Chester Nimitz of the U.S. Navy. So, by 1945, most of the Japanese Navy and Air Force were gone. They did still have an army of 2 million, and it's at this point they start to embrace that idea of kamikazes, or pilots who take on suicide missions. It's clear Japan would fight to the death instead of surrendering, and that's clear in some of the tactics they started using in 1945. We also have to talk about the invasion of Iwo Jima in February, which lasted until March 1945. Technically, this is considered to be the first major invasion of the Japanese homeland. It's also the bloodiest battle in Marine Corps history to this day, home to strategic Japanese airfields, and it's only about 5 miles long, yet it took them over a month to take that island. Starting in April till July of 1945, we'll also have the invasion and battle for the island of Okinawa. This is the largest amphibious landing, and casualties saw the Allies, or the Americans, I should say, losing about 50,000. The Japanese, all 100,000 troops stationed on Okinawa, died. That was a pretty costly battle for the Japanese. But Japan's not giving up. Unbeknownst to the people, the U.S. government was secretly developing atomic bombs. Not even Harry Truman, who was vice president for the first part of World War II, knew about this. To provide some context, in 1944, shortly at, no, excuse me, 1945, I believe, shortly after taking the oath of office for an unprecedented fourth term in office as president, FDR dies. And as such, under the Act of Succession, Vice President Harry Truman became president. And he now was finally briefed on the Manhattan Project, something that had been in development for years that even the vice president didn't know existed. Well, so now Truman has a decision to make and consults with his advisors. Does he save American lives and avoid an invasion? Or does he invade and suffer up to 1 million casualties? To be fair, he did give warning to Japan: surrender or face complete destruction and utter devastation. Japan ignored the warning and refused surrender. So on August 6th, 1945, the city of Hiroshima will be the first to be bombed with one of two atomic bombs. We developed two different kinds. The little boy, who's a small one and a little bit longer, because we also treated this as a test. This picture in the bottom right-hand corner is a before and after of Hiroshima, after the bomb. Oh, after we did that, we asked Japan again, are you going to surrender? And they're like, no. So we drop another atomic bomb, this time on the city of Nagasaki on August 8th, with the Fat Man, a very round, bulbous type of nuclear bomb. Now, unbeknownst to the Japanese or even the rest of the world, we'd only built 3 nuclear bombs. We used one to test in the desert of Nevada, and we just dropped the other 2 on Japan. We don't have any more. They don't know that, though. So, we're like, are you going to surrender now, or do we need to drop another one? Well, initially the Japanese military is like, go ahead, drop another one. We don't care. But on August 10th, Emperor Hirohito's finally going to intervene, and the peace treaty will be signed on the battleship Missouri, effectively ending the war in the Pacific, giving us a victory in Japan Day on August 10th, 1945. All right, that is it for notes for today. I'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.